2024 Ram ProMaster EV. It's practical, a little bit pricey. Electric vans, what's taking so long and why are the ones we're getting so disappointing? And when will Tesla get into the race? I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Ozza. So this is going to be a pretty quick one today because there's not a whole lot to say, but I do have my good friend Herbert here with me. He's an expert, as you guys know. You've seen him around. You've been over to Brighter. And if you haven't, I don't believe you. So this Ram van here, by the way, if you get a chance to support me, that'd be super awesome. But, you can also just leave a comment and tell me how great my hair looks today, because people love to point that out. They got a comment. If I had a traditional haircut, what would you guys talk about? So Ram is getting into it with a practical but pricey delivery vehicle. Mm-hmm. And yeah, vans don't typically get a second look. Boxy and utilitarian. So we've got some competition out there for this one. We've got the Ford e-Transit, Mercedes, Bright Drop, which I'm not really giving its own slide to because their volume is sufficiently low, and the Rivian, which comes in two or three sizes. Yeah. Doesn't look as futuristic.
That looks gorgeous, by the way. I like these vans.
I think it looks fine. I think there's only so much you can do with the shape, and they have done it. I'm fine with it. But there's, of course, a problem, and I bet you can guess what the problem with all these vans is.
Well, you told me, and I'm shocked. You're saying that the range is too low?
Too low. This one in particular, 162 miles in urban driving with half a payload.
Why?
Which puts it in the same ballpark.
It's too heavy?
It's not too heavy. It's too large. It's the wind that gets you. It's the wind that gets you. And on this particular one, on a DC fast charger, it still takes an hour to go from 20 to 80 with a peak of 150 kilowatts. So the first problem, yeah, it's big, yeah, it's heavy, but it's the wind profile that really makes these things a killer. Could you put a larger battery in? Yeah, and you'd need to. It would add weight, which isn't the real problem. The real problem is the cost, because big batteries cost money. So maybe GM will start convincing them to put in their 200 plus kilowatt hour battery to get a more serious range. So let's jump over and look at the first fully electric van from Mercedes. Now, these are actually made in the US. I don't recall where now. Kansas, maybe? No, not Kansas, but they're made in the US. And these are out on the road. These are already in use. Again, they're pretty expensive and have short range. And they're not alone. Of course, we just mentioned the Rivian, starting at 86. Yeah. Oh, it's
the
beautiful.
Amazon partnership, right? The Amazon partnership. These guys look gorgeous. I see them all over Seattle. And if you show the back, the light in the back is so beautiful.
Yeah, the light that runs all the way up and around.
Yeah.
But again,
like
the range.
It doesn't matter how they look. What matters is, right? It's all about commercial efficiency, margins, and cost. And 153 miles, it's just not going to cut it. I guess it's low. It's within local short distance, ultra short distance.
Last mile. It is the last mile delivery stuff. It is. I've had a chance to check it out up close and personal at the Rivian showroom in Portland when the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association had a meeting there. If you're in the Portland area, you should join us at one of these Oregon Electric Vehicle Association meetings. They are every month and sometimes more than once. It's got a fine warranty, 60,000 mile bumper to bumper, 175,000 mile for the powertrain, which is fantastic. So now if we jump over to this, we've got a whole lineup. Yeah, these are the ones that are in Europe. So we're going to have some fun here because there's some goofy stuff. This, of course, is a van, I guess. It's not it's cargo, which just means it's got no glass in the back, no glass up top, and no back seats. Okay, fine. And now you're at 256 miles of range, but it's very small. But we'll get even sillier because this is also a small van, I guess. And then the Peugeot e-Partner, basically the same car.
You need all sorts of sizes. We're talking about small business here. That's all they need. The other one was true cargo transportation shipments for large distribution, facilities.
Yeah, this Toyota is a better size. It's a bit bigger. Fiat. So the Fiat, this is probably the same as the Ram because Fiat is in the same motor group. They're both Stellantis. This somehow is, when is a van not a van? When it's the van e-tech, which is really only a van in the lightest sense of the word. Let's just, guys, you know what would be funny? And then the smaller Mercedes van. Sure. But don't worry, this is sillier still. This is, I don't know why this made the list. These are adorable. I've seen them in real life. They're like $5,000. So this one's saying 8,000 pounds is the price. They're very fun. And then this, I've never heard of the Arrival, but
I have. Mm-hmm.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll have to look into it. 211 miles of range. We're getting there. So what I'm thinking, Herbert, and check me if I'm crazy here, but should Tesla decide to get into the cargo van business, they're not going to settle for 150 or 200 miles of range. They're going to do it all the way.
I mean, they have the expertise in the batteries, step one. Step two, I was going to ask you, do you think that they'll use a semi kind of, that they've already optimized for efficiency?
They could use a dual motor configuration that is optimized for low-end torque with a clutch that disengages for just high-end horsepower on the second one, just like they do on the Semi. That would squeak out some more efficiency. Their battery management, their thermal management, they've got a lot of special sauce that the other guys don't have. And I think just by using octavalve technology over the older, simpler stuff is going to get you a good 10-20% efficiency. So that 150 just jumped to 180. And then a slightly larger battery. I think it's doable.
Although it's not likely because they're not going to use a semi platform for this. They're going to use the unboxed model. This is what they're going to do for the van.
Right. I just meant the motor design with the.
I was talking about the efficiency of the airflow. Yeah.
I don't see why you couldn't do that unboxed. If we go back and look at this Arrival van again, it's got as good of a shape as you're going to put on something that with that kind of volume. So I think Tesla can absolutely do that. And I think that would be interesting and not impossible. I've seen a number of people saying what I really want is an electric camper van. And my concern there is that the market would be would definitely be too small, especially if you're talking something that's 60,000 plus just to get into before you start modifying. So I don't think that that's a reasonable solution. So guys, in the comments, I guess I'd say, what do you want? What do you want? Do you want Tesla to make this van? How many units would they need to be able to sell to, in your mind, to justify it? And actually, I'd ask you that real quick. What is a minimum number of units to justify building?
Yeah, I say it's got to be well over 1 million. It's got to be 2 million or more. The reason I say that is that, which is not there's so many opportunities for Tesla. Why try to spread it out to all these things? I'm one of the believes that you don't need to make the X and the S anymore. Obviously, a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, no!" Like
fighting words.
Yeah,
and I think I've told you my philosophy on that is if the line is running and it's still profitable, just push it to the side and let it run. When I sold Broadcast Electronics, there was a Sharp VCR we sold that had some special feature about it. I don't remember what it was, but this thing was 20 years old and had never been updated, but they just kept making it because there were special use case customers who just kept buying it. Not in high volume, very low volume, but just keep making it. The line exists. And then without any word, it was suddenly discontinued. And we asked the representative, what happened? Did they break the mold? Yeah, the mold broke. Literally, we're not going to make a new mold. It's over. And that was it. We broke the mold. For crying out loud. Well, okay, end of an era. And so I think that's what we're going to see with S and X is limited development. And I'm okay with that. For me, I don't need to see 1 million a year. I think even 1,000 a week would be fine. Maybe 10,000 a week. So 500,000 a year would be more reasonable. Because, the 1,000 a week we're seeing with S and X it's just not going to get you the economies of scale. It's not going to make the engineering justified. Guys, let us know. What are your thoughts on these vans? Everybody else, like, subscribe, do the usual, and stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots at one of the many events that I go to all over the place all the time.